Okay, shall we start?
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I'm sorry. Every time I'm a bit stuck where to begin. Yeah. Actually, I'm amazed at the fact that the more we get educated, the less we know about the world, What a tragedy of modernity, modern humans. Yeah, I'll begin with some simple facts. Literates learn the word, illiterates learn the world. You get it? This you must get very clearly. Literates learn the word, illiterates learn the world. Got it? No, not yet. You're still surprised. Let me tell again. Literates learn the word, W-O-R-D. Illiterates learn the world. Clear? Yeah. So now, please answer me a few questions. I just want to check out how much you remember of what you remember of the school days. Now, first standard, second standard, few questions, please. So what is the color of sky? Fast. Just tell, no? Yeah, you can open your, what do you call that? Unmute and say. Don't worry. I'm not trapping you. These are
Blue.
clarifying. Yeah. Sky blue, white and blue. All right, very good. And what is the color of leaf?
Green.
Very good. Well trained. Very good. Well educated. Yeah. Now another question I want to ask you. Just imagine the earth for, close your eyes and bring earth into your mind. No? Just bring it. Okay. All right. Now, all right, you got it, no? You. All right. Now, tell me, what is did anyone see an image, a photograph? No. All right. Okay. Now, what is the size that you saw? You did see an earth, no? What is the size that you saw? Is it, yeah. The size?
Ball.
Round, no? This much? All right, no?
A ball size.
Ball size, no? Okay. Anybody else? Any other size that you saw? Slightly bigger? No. Okay. Pardon?
No, only small round.
Okay, good. All right. Okay.
As everyone says, the shape will be in the round. We imagine that only.
What?
As everyone in the school, they said that the earth is in round shape. That only we imagine. But
Yeah. Don't worry. I'm just checking something else. Don't worry. All right. So everybody got this size. Okay, that's also good. Now, one more thing. I'm sure you know where Delhi is, no? New Delhi. Have you traveled to New Delhi? And do you know where is Kanyakumari or Cochin, for that matter? Cochin. Yeah, just imagine. All right. Yeah, got it. Now, how many of you imagined that when you went to Delhi, you went up, and when you came to Cochin, you came down? How many got it like that? You got it like that, no? You went up and you came down. right? Yeah.
Yes.
No, I just wanted to prove to you that how damaged our cognitive functioning is. I just wanted to prove this to you right away, because many people come here, with this, with an argumentative mind. I want to put the mind at rest. That education is the biggest damage that has happened to human beings. No doubt about it, because we are biologically equipped to learn the real world. But education, meaning learning the word, rewires your whole cognitive functioning. You ask this question to any illiterate person, what is the size of the earth? They will not tell you the size of the ball. That's only the educated who end up thinking that the size of the earth is a ball. Correct, no? It's unimaginably big. The uneducated will ever make a mistake of thinking the earth to be, like a football. Got it, no? You got this clearly? And also about going up and down, in an educated mind, we have a two-dimensional cognitive realm within which we are functioning. That is why we are going up and coming down. Delhi is up and coming down. Correct. This happened in once. I was in Delhi with a friend, and there was a maid, illiterate Bangladeshi maid, and somebody introduced me to her, telling that I am from down south, from Kerala, down south. And when I came to the kitchen, she began to look at me and wonder, how did I come up? You see, for an illiterate person, down meaning it is under the ground. Understand? Down meaning it is underground. There is no down in terms of the. Now, this is a construct of the mind. Down, because we are imagining in terms of globe, right? No? Or the map. Two options you have. So when you think of Australia, you think as if it is down and under, no? Correct? They might just fall down, no? Down and under, right? So this is all a typical way in which the mind of the modern educated people function. And surely enough, they have completely misunderstood what is a child. And we are completely trapped in the paradigm of the merchants. Today, it's a paradigm of the merchants. They sell you everything and you have to buy. And your all solutions lie in buying things. And in order to do that, they have to really fool you to make you feel like an idiot. But they will continuously tell you are very educated. That's the only way they can trap you. They will not tell you are a fool. They will keep on telling you are great people, you are very good, very capable. But all the subtle messages are, that's a trap. With that, it is very easy to, really cheat you from life. That's what has been happening, You see, I, almost in 91 or so, I stopped reading completely. 100% I stopped reading. And I stopped reading because I wanted to understand what is knowledge. What is knowledge? That's the reason why I stopped reading. Because you see, this also happened once, many years ago. I was living in a small village, and some children, they hardly ever go to school, there were some of them. So I thought, let me ask this question to them, that where do you get knowledge from? And I asked this question to all educated. Without any batting of an eyelid, they will say it is from books or authority or teacher or library. Am I right? This is a source for any educated, the knowledge coming from. Well, this boy, he actually was surprised when I asked this question, Then he began to think, and then he pointed towards him inside. That knowledge comes from here, because you are the learner. You are the creator of knowledge. Knowledge of what? Of the world that around you. The content is the world, but you are the creator of knowledge. Every living being is creating knowledge. Do you have any doubt about that? Every dog on the street creates knowledge. Every tree creates knowledge. The reason why a coconut tree bends is a decision about creation, about knowledge, where it is going to get sunlight. Am I right? So a except the modern educated people, everyone is learning. We are made completely, I'm not joking, I'm not exaggerating this at all, because see, the thing is that we are biologically equipped to create knowledge like every living being. But as we are born into this world, into the modern paradigm of the world, we are completely denied the ability to create knowledge by all the kind of help that adults provide, the educated provide. Adult meaning not the illiterate adults, because they don't help at all. So, and the biggest damage begins with toys. Children do not need toys at all. Toy is a modern invention. And I think it is the most dangerous invention, I think, more than schools. Schools, of course, completely kills your, it replaces the content of our natural learning from the real world to written word. That's what it does. But what toys does is also to replace two things. It replaces. One, it replaces the real content. Second, it replaces the process that is involved in understanding the world. For a child, every activity is playful. Every object is a potential toy. Malvika and Hershey and all that, why are you writing this? This will be available. Pay attention. No? Don't become a student here. Be a student of life. Right? And I can tell you this, one very important thing that I keep reminding people is, I'm lying like anything to you all. Don't believe in one word I say. Right? And I'm sure most of you have children. No? Observe your child and let the child teach you what is life. I adopted a child many years ago, or I think the child adopted me, because it just happened like that, And so when she came to my life, I took 3 decisions. One was, never tell no to her. Second, always follow her. Let her lead. Whatever she wants to do, let her do. When she wants to eat, when she wants to sleep, everything dictated by the child and not by you. That's another decision I took. And the third decision, more important decision, is never lie to her. Absolutely no lie. Actually, children belong to a completely different paradigm. They are truth manifested. They do not know, till we teach them there is something called lie and something called truth. Their existential is in truth, so we must differentiate that. And truth, of course, is the invention of the language, because actuality doesn't have any truth, any lies. What is there is there. And the child is encountering that. So that's why I'm telling you that if you really create a condition, and because it is also very, very important that you learn from your child, because if you learn from an expert and engage with the child will also realize that you are a fake. Don't let the child, live, grow up to another, to become another fake like all of us. It is okay to say that we do not know. That's better than faking knowledge. So it is very important that you start an inquiry just by observing your child. And in order to start inquiry, first and foremost condition is that you accept that you do not know. Experts doesn't look for knowledge, no? That's the whole problem with educated. Educated has been made to believe that they know. Whatever written knowledge that has been given, and that we take it as dim knowledge. And also the tragedy is that whatever now we think is knowledge. Our opinion is also considered knowledge. And this is the height of the problem, you know. So don't feel depressed at all. Malvika, don't feel depressed. Don't feel. I mean, this is a fact. The fact must be, you know, faced, because you know, for the children we need to do it. We need to do these changes because, you know, most of the parenting workshops is for further controlling the child so that we can remain in comfort. Tell them how to speak properly, you know, teach them how they will tell you, they won't talk back to you. Please, you know, no. I believe that there is absolutely nothing wrong with the child. Absolutely nothing. The whole problem is of the modern world and the modern educated people, because they have completely forgotten what is life. So let me share with you some you know, some images, and you know, because you know, see, I understood after, no, what I want to tell you was that after I stopped reading completely, I began to observe what children do, and I began to document what children do. Every activity that they do spontaneously became very, very important to me. Any activity. I'm sure all of you must have seen children bouncing on sofa. Am I right? Probably you also must have bounced, you know, when you were a child. I don't know. Maybe. We didn't bounce because we didn't have sofa type things. No, it was all hard all the time. But yeah. So to me, every activity that the child does became important. Every activity. Spontaneously done. That's what it means, spontaneously done. Not directed by adults, not imitated, no? Anything that the child does spontaneously became very, very important to me. That is when I began to document. I have thousands of videos and images of what children do. And from those images, I was able to understand that there is a clear pattern that life has given to us to understand the real world. So I will take you through that, what, you know, how children do that, and what is a toy in that context. And, you know, and then we will have some discussions about this. And of course, I will also tell you what are my plans about what to do, you know, what little thing we can do. So I'm calling it toy as a process. There is nothing called a fixed toy. Toy as a product, as an object, you know, as a fixed product is a modern idea. And what it does is that it not only kills the process nature of the child, but also it kills other very important thing, which is the it stunts the developmental process in a child. Because, you know, it's like this: when the child is kneeling down and, you know, crawling, and if you do something to the child that doesn't allow the child to walk, it can happen. And I can show you some examples of how children you know, stopped walking because the child was with a dog. The child had no exposure to human beings. The child was spending all the time with the dogs, and the child started walking like a dog, talking, you know, and eating like a dog, all that, you know. So you can stunt the developmental process at any time. So toy also does that. I'll come back to that later. Yeah, I'll start with an example. Now this child is eating a coconut piece, and he took a first bite. You see the shape of that? He immediately remembered the Nandi bull. And then he said, it is like the Nandi bull, the horns, you know. And immediately he remembered the moon, half moon. And he told, no, this is moon. So this process, this is the reason why children make toys at all. There is no other reason. Every object is explored for its own materiality, its own process, you know, possibility, and at the same time, it also begins to you know, study what it looks like, or how it functions like. So they are actually comparing the similarity of form, what it looks like, and similarity of function, how it functions. So every activity, so I will give you some redefinitions. These are redefinitions as per the natural learning process. So, because, play these days, again, now this is another marketing term. All modern people are after this, you must allow your child to play, and you would take them to a playground and all that kind of nonsense, without really understanding playfulness is the quality that is required, not play as a physical activity. That's also important. I'm not telling that's not important, but playfulness as a quality of the mind is far more important, because through other play, your body begins to, be better. It's a physical activity, but playfulness is a mental quality, and that is what gets killed when you trap them into an activity called play, and when you give them toy to play with. Yeah. And of course, they do replace. Replace is that, they recreate an experience. Like, for example, they like mother and child, or any activity. Every activity they replay. That's a form of reflection. Of course, they go to a marriage, come back and, do marriage. Every activity they experience, they recreate. And toy is the object that is used as props in the process of reenactment of experience. Any object that has, sometimes we won't even realize that there is some connection that the child has seen between the original object and the object that the child has picked up. It can be far off. Still, the child will connect it. So this is the nature of learning, that by observing similarity. Anyway, I'll come back to that. I'll show you a very interesting video about. No, let me just show you that first. Yeah, take a look at this video. See what the child in the front is comparing. He's comparing the form and making very clear understanding that these are two legs. One looks like the other one. You see? Now, please take the blessing of this child. He will bless you. In fact, that is what you should do. Every day, take blessing from your own child. Bless these people. They don't know what a child is. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. So, you got it? So, let me, since I've come here, let me, take you through this. Redefinitions. In the context of natural learning, the way the child learns, we need to redefine all the terms that has been pushed into us by modernity. So to learn means to create knowledge, not to read somebody's book, second-hand ideas and remember it and reproduce. That's not learning at all. Learning is a first-hand act of creation of knowledge. And actually, creation of knowledge means this is not new knowledge. Every living being has to recreate knowledge. That doesn't mean that they have to create new knowledge, because that is what modernity is trapped in. They have to create new knowledge, but that is what is marketable. But as a living being, every time we are recreating knowledge, and that is what learning is all about, actually. And it is a two-way process, because it shapes your brain, it shapes your body, it shapes the whole being. When you learn, you begin to understand the world through this process. So it's a two-way process, primarily for shaping you. And creativity, again, in the modern context, creativity is, doing permutation combination of what is known. Some jugglery you do and then produce something new. But creativity in this context is a response to the unknown. And that is what the child is doing. Because if you look at all the activity the child is doing, is not repeating that somebody has seen. They are spontaneously becoming, creating, doing things first time. No activity the child is doing is imitation. Unless, of course, recreation of experiences. Otherwise, like for example, the child that looked at both the feet. It was the child's idea of learning. No, so now curiosity is embedded in all living beings. And this is another tragedy that the modern West, I mean the society has been telling, that human beings are something very better and very higher up and all that kind of. You see, please understand, the animals are not in the race. It's only in our head that there is some race happening. No one else is in the race. Well, every living being is curious, as every living being is learning. Yeah. And this is very important thing to remember, that many parents keep on asking that the child is asking many questions. Now that is because we have shifted them from the realm of the world into the realm of the word. And of course, we have also shown many silly books and all that. No, that's the problem. Then they will come back and ask you many questions, because a lot of imagination has happened in their head and they want to sort it out. But in the realm of real life, just sitting on a sofa and bouncing is itself a question and an answer. Every activity a child is doing is actually a question and an answer being attempted together. But because we have shifted them from the realm of the world into the realm of the word, now they will keep on troubling you with questions, most of which we don't have any answer. And frankly, we are also not incapable of answering, because we hardly know anything about many of these things. So what is this? So we went through this. So this, and same object is used in different ways. This was a child, her child. Later it became a bus, lorry, vehicle, and then she sat on it. So same object, multiple. See, this is actually the sign of intelligence. They are very flexible. Toy as a process. Now, these are certain terms I'm using from the modern context. There's a term called Affordances, which means that the object tells you what to do. You don't have to know firsthand. And I came across this many years ago. Now this is from arecanut, that leaf. So when you cut like this, it rolls by itself. Because it's a curly nature. So when you cut it like that, it just curls up and becomes like a binocular. But she has never seen a binocular. That object invited her to look through it. So this is the capacity of all children. They know spontaneously what to do with any situation. Like a child, children would play hide and seek around square pillars, rectangular, hard, rough, the 90-degree, shaped pillars. But that is not what they do when they are, playing around a round pillar. Immediately the play changes. When a child comes to a place where it is possible to slide, immediately all children slide. So, and none of this is, imitations. They see a particular situation, they see a particular object, and they know exactly what to do with that. Or they will start exploring what can be done with that. Abstraction is other very important activity. And now one thing is that like digestion, which is an internal process, abstraction is an internal process. You cannot do it purposely. Abstraction is a process that happens within you as you engage with more and more things around. So you begin to understand the underlying principles behind certain things. This is what it actually means, you know. So he had seen now he has made a, what you call this, JCB, earth mover. He took an umbrella frame and had that container, fixed it, and then he is now taking mud from one place to the other. Yeah. So child made a broom and a scoop with so even when you give them toys, I'm telling not give, but suppose it is there, because I remember some years ago a parent called us and told that, I think there is something wrong with my child because the child is not playing as per the instruction given in the box. I'm not exaggerating this. He actually thought there is something wrong with the child. So even if there is a toy in the house, either you break it and give it, let it be there. Don't worry, because it's not easy to take it away right away, But you see, one thing I can tell you, they are not going to miss any toy. If you give enough freedom in the house, that the house belongs to them. If you stop having your private space and give accessibility to child, to everything that is around, child will completely forget the need for a toy. Improvisation. Now, this is interesting. Somebody had given a truck to this child, and as the child was taking out the truck from the box, he told it is coming out of the garage. So immediately he turned the box into a, so this is actually the fantastic beauty of children. They're continuously imagining things. So for them, body itself is a toy. I'm sure all of you must have seen how children use palm as mobile phone. Hello, Nature as toy. Of course, nature is no longer not much part of your lives, and it is through this that they understand the world actually, They take many objects and, any object is a toy for a child. So this is a very misunderstood idea because, there is a lot of pushing about imagination as an important thing, like reasoning and imagination. You see, when you read, you're already imagining things. So for educated people, there is imagination of imagination, where they are already living in an imaginary world. In the natural context, imagination is always of something concrete, something that you imagine, Now for these children, what they have in their hand are their children. And they really are not at all looking for dolls. And so when you give a doll, especially Barbie doll, I think we should, begin a campaign, boycott Barbie dolls. Absolutely, because that is far more harmful, and every toys are harmful. That's no, the problem with Barbie doll is that it is not even a child. It's not even a child. So here, what they do is that they give this, this stones bath, feed them, give them, put them bindis, and everything children do with this, because and they do it soon after they undergo the experience of, being fed, being given bath, all that. So that is a stage at which children reenact the role of the mother. They experience the mother, so they reenact being the mother. So definitely this is part of the developmental stages. The earliest stage in a child's life is to imitate being a mother. I'm sure all of you must have experienced that, no? They becoming mother, they must have fed you also, because at that time you are their child, no? Yeah. So, and it's clearly a developmental stage, which I don't think this, you see, I don't think these kind of things are things that the Western world will understand, because there is no possibility for them to understand children in a spontaneous manner. Because, right in the beginning, see, the whole notion is that children are helpless and they need to be taught. Hierarchy is established without any doubt. Now, the hierarchy, I will come back to that later. Please remind me to talk about hierarchy. See, this is two combs. Two combs fixed together has become his aeroplane. And this is the thing I'm talking about. To what extent they can go in imagination. Can you tell me what these are? Take a guess. This is father and mother, and right, they are lying down now. So, so they find something, some aspect for comparison. Here the comparison is the size. Of course, not the color, don't worry. It is the size. Father is big and mother is small. I mean, that's the usual scenario, no? So, and you see, just that spoon has become their selfie. Selfie stick and together. And this is, I'm sure you must have seen this also, laptop. And this happened right in front of me. I was doing something, the child came, there was this greeting card. Immediately, she also started working, So the thing with this is that, children do not have to think at all. They're spontaneous. So actually the shift that we make is that children, meaning all natural learning process is process oriented. And for us, it has become product oriented. Knowledge to be remembered and stored, and then done permutation combination with that. And they are creating knowledge, whereas we are believing in knowledge. In fact, the educator are the more superstitious, even though they claim that illiterate are superstitious. Not true at all. It's only the content has changed. For illiterates, it may be God and things like that, but for literates, it is the educated knowledge. Like the color of the sky is blue, the color of the leaf is green. I mean, it's all certain, no doubt. Absolutely no doubt. This is another damage of the modern mind, that they have the right answer. This is their problem. All ready-made answers are filled in their head. And presence is the nature of the child. We are perpetually absent, and then we go around teaching them mindfulness. This is the tragedy of modernity. Because see, children are totally helpless. So all your experiments are done on the child, teaching them how to be mindful, all that kind of, teaching them ethics, even though you are very unethical. Teach them ethics, that's important. You see? And from quality to quantity. Yeah, I want to show you one, natural system of teaching. Actually, I call it teaching without teaching, because there is no intention to teach. Like, look at this man in the village. He's just doing his work with no botheration to teach. The responsibility is on the learner. She will watch. It is her responsibility, because it is very natural for the child to observe and learn. Right? So, well, I'm just just showing you that. So this, I'm sure all of you must have experienced this. Yeah. So now I will take you through the giving you the grammar of learning. What is the structure given by life to understand the world? Children learn various attributes of the phenomena. Form meaning what something looks like. Function meaning what is the purpose of it. Process meaning how that happens or how it is done. And materials, of course, means the materiality, the quality of materials, which is why every child bounds on a sofa, and it is a very natural thing to explore what is the world possible about, what is it providing us with, what can you do with the material. That's what leads to other next things, and of course the final aspect of structural stability. So how does it look? It could be form, shape, color, texture, various other things, and how does it feel? Also sensation, texture, temperature. How does it behave? All these things. Form, I'm sure all of you must have done this in your childhood. When you got the notebook, did you make a form like this? And I'm sure you must have told it the house, house or tent or whatever, So what we do is we recreate as per how something looks like. So usually it will be a miniaturized version, right? Form, similarity of form. And of course here the children are recreating big house. Earlier days, of course, we used to make only one roofed because that is what we saw normally. Nowadays they are making flats, huge buildings. I mean, they have more books, they will create a whole. And if at all you have books in your house, please provide children with this. Reading is more dangerous to their cognitive development. So actually we ran a school from 2011 to 2013. We ran a fantastic school where children were truly respected for whatever they were doing. We had absolutely no interference, nothing to teach. And of course that experiment failed because most people did not understand why we were doing this, And this is a in the village where I used to stay. I mean, I'm still there, but the games are not there. Those old days, those days. Now TV has come in and taken their time completely. They recreated the markets, and you can see that most of the things resemble what it represents. The potato looks like potato, egg looks like egg. These dry leaves are dry fishes. So everything has a fantastic correlation. What is interesting was that if you can see on top, blue colored, violet colored objects that are, flower is there. So that is when I realized that they are not always looking for formal similarity, but also color similarity. They were selling brinjals, and this flower represented the brinjal. And of course, they could get exactly the same type of chilies. Function, of course, again, you must have done this, put a bed sheet over a table and played house. No. Here the focus is on creating that space. Contained space is what house offers you. So they just recreated a contained space just by putting bed sheet over a table. So that's their house.
Hey.
So even whatever activities that happen at home, shadi bhi hota hai, marriage happens, many marriages, death ceremony happens, death happens, birth. So every activity they experience, they create, and also they do whatever is happening. So again, this is another problem with the modern world, where work children are not supposed to do. It is actually in doing these kind of things their brain really develops. This is a real act of intelligence. Now, one thing I've seen very clearly is that When a child learns this, they do it far more spontaneously than when the educated adult goes and learns this. Because children are observing very keenly and recreating it. Whereas an educated adult first has to observe, allow the mind to learn, and then tell the body, So there is a mind always coming between the learning process. And all teaching can only be done to the mind. Please understand this. When you go to learn swimming, the coach actually gives all the information. It's the mind that learns first, and then the mind then tells the body what to do. That's how our mind and body get fragmented. Otherwise, actually, I have seen, when people who know how to swim, they have learned from their spontaneously, their swimming is very, very different from the ones who are taught how to swim. Where always there is a mind taking a slight lead. So children should be involved in every activity. Cooking, cutting vegetables, washing, everything. And as far as possible, start using the ground. You see, like literacy, which became a hindrance, which became a block for children to learn, modern spaces are also anti-child. When kitchen went up, when tables are, dining table is up, they need your help. But if you eat on the ground, children don't need your help. So the very condition of modernity is against the child, is to make the child feel that they need help. So we need to create an environment where children should not feel that they need help by someone. In fact, I remember one very interesting incident. One friend, of course, he's illiterate. He happened to get a dog which had some problem with the leg. The dog couldn't move. So he took the dog to his house, and every time he gives food, he ensures that the dog doesn't reach the food very easily. It is kept when he told me that, because he showed me when it was already, he had done the experiment almost for 2-3 months. And he was saying there are a lot of improvement in this. But this is not the way that our brain functions. Because there are so many handicapped children. We make them feel they're handicapped by helping them. In indigenous communities, no help is offered. If at all the help is offered, it is done so sensitively that the child will not know that it is being helped. So this sensitivity is one thing that is completely missing. We think, because the help is promoted like anything. You must help everybody. But we don't realize that others don't need your help. So why are you, showering your help to others who don't need it? See, help basically means that you are superior than the other. That basic means. It is only from such a position you can begin to help others. When you have to make others, feel incapable. So, so this is actually a real cooking. So they mix real cooking with, their, reenactment. And mind you, this is also not done with permission and all that. Meaning, this is another strange thing, that it is in modernity, permission is important. Whereas in indigenous communities, they don't take any permission. They just go take. Of course, when the mother sees, they may get angry, but still they go and take. bring everything out, and cook their own, whatever is possible. And these are the kind of things they keep making. Now, here they are recreating a vehicle, different versions. And these are contextual. And you can see that, every time they add some mechanism to that, some addition. In the one on top, left, on right on top, with that yellow thing, you can also see the mudguard behind. And the one on the left top, that's very interesting. You can see 4 wheels, and you can see this black thing jetting out. It is from tube, cycle tube, fixed at different places on the wheel. So as it moves, it keeps making the sound tuck 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 tuck. As it keeps falling, you can see on the second one, it is already there. So it's so beautifully timed. The same object, this is a palm. What is that? Palm, I don't know what it's called. Palm fruit?
Ice fruit.
Ice fruit, yeah, whatever word. Yeah. So the same object used in different ways. So, children never feel that they need some help. You leave them alone, they will find their solution. So this is what usually happens to our chappals. Yeah. So this is a seed. Yeah. Of course, all these games are gone now. I had documented this many years ago, so I have at least some collection. None of these activities happen even in villages today. So this is what happens when you go to school. You learn to become a teacher. You can see her body has acquired the seriousness of the teacher. So now you must understand one thing, that in natural learning process, it is the body that actually learns. It imbibes all the experiences, and the mind is taking part in that. Okay? Mind and body are learning together, and it absorbs and imbibes the experience. But school teaching is a peculiar kind of a situation. School is a peculiar situation where the body experiences one thing and the mind experiences something else. Body is experiencing the trauma of school, of the teacher, of authority, of fear, or whatever, or how to please the teacher, every tax, Now that is the role of the body. Body imbibes the experiences, whereas the mind learns the language. It could be physics, chemistry, English, or whatever. Nevertheless, it is in language. Correct, no? So the brain is involved in, the mind is involved in listening to what the teacher says, and the body imbibes the experience of that. The day you did not do homework, of course, you are sitting in fear, and that 40 minutes, how you spent. I remember very well all this, because I was quite a bad student. So yeah. So basically, today modernity, people talk about fragmentation of the body and mind, but not one person has understood it is actually because of literacy, because of teaching, that the fragmentation of the body and mind is taking place. So here, the dots in front are the students. So she is again becoming a teacher there. So this is what happens: observe, engage, experience, recreate experience, immerse, imbibe. This is the natural process. In this process, language is included. All right. Now let me quickly show you the process thing, and then I think we should open it up for some. Now look at the gate, man. Look at the way the brick is moved, like the way gate opens. See now, you will now close the gate. That pivotal movement, no, exactly the way how a gate is opened and closed. No, structure, of course, is structural stability. Now in the school, I think in the third year, they began to build a double-storied and also big house, quite big. I think about roughly 5.5 feet house they had made actually. In fact, all of us sat in there for some time, So property, of course, I told you. So this was a spontaneous response when they got the tire. So what we did in the school was to bring all kinds of so-called waste. See, one thing we did in the school was that we did not have waste paper basket, because waste is an idea constructed by modern minds. In indigenous communities, there is neither waste nor waste paper basket, because nature doesn't have waste. So the very existence of waste is only within the modern paradigm, because we have created what is useful and what is waste. For an indigenous person, nothing called waste. Everything is used by something or the other, somebody or the other. And how we teach children how to waste is by keeping a waste paper basket in your house. Just have a waste paper basket. You're teaching children to waste. Yeah, so this is that sliding I'm talking about. The sliding. So I will quickly take you through language also, because that's very important, how to distinguish between how they create language. It's very important actually. Language is basically for communication. It is not a cognitive source at all. If at all it is a cognitive source, it is a secondary cognitive source. Primary source being the real world. And only when language is a cognitive source, only when you can make sense of it through your own experiences. Otherwise, you are making a story in the head. I look at this. Metaphor is a word that we use in language. So I see the connection between how language and experience get built up. How they are related, and how actually all the language rules come from primarily from experience itself first. So metaphor, as I told you, it's a comparison of form, color. So once this child had looked at this, what you call that, the wall was textured, and the child had seen what you call that, this crocodile. So immediately the child recalled. So comparing texture became like, there are also trees like that, no? So this comparison of form is what get later then translated into language. Metaphor is nothing but again comparing things, comparing one thing with the other. So in language, this is very important. that this child, she used to call cat Mimi and dogs Cuckoo. So when she saw tiger, she called them Bada Mimi. It's a form similarity, and how she makes adjectives. So actually, if you observe very keenly children, you will find that they are actually constructing language based on the real world. Now, this is very interesting. Here, the child saw this peacock flying, and she called it crow, kawa. Understand? And the peacock got down and started walking, and then the child told it is kutta. So when the peacock was flying, it was kaka. When the peacock was walking, it was kutta. Now, the thing is that in the initial stage in her life, all flying ones were termed as kawa, kaka, because that is her first experience of bird flying. So all flying ones are kaka, and all walking ones are kutta. So why I'm telling this is that children already have a very, very clear system given by life to understand the world. So they make their own category and slowly sort it out. And actually, it is this process that retains the integrity of the world and the word, because the child is learning world and the word together. You must understand that in the first few days of year of the child's life, child doesn't understand one meaning of any word that you say. They will hear all words as sound. It is meaningless. They are sounds, sensory. This thing. When the sound acquires meaning, that is when the mind begins to function. You got this now? Senses have access to the world, whereas mind has access to language. So the role of the mind is basically interpreting the world and the word, connecting the word and the world. Mind doesn't have direct access to the world. It is through the senses that the mind gets idea of the world. So in a natural situation, adults provide the word, children hear the sound, and meaning gets created in experience. But in our system, in the school system, children, this aspect is completely missing, because the adult directly provides meaning. That's the problem. So the role of the child in creating the connection is taken away. Yeah, I think this is okay now. Now I think we will spend some time discussing. Let me tell you one this is very, very interesting. Just this. So for this child, pa was water. She used to call pa water. All right. So for the first time, the child saw the sea, samundar, sea. Child said pabu, and by stretching both his hands, right? So, but on seeing the sea for the first time, he was fascinated and said pabu with extended hands. So pa is water, bu is the sound of the wave, and extended hands means hugeness. So he actually he said a whole sentence with that, So, okay, we will stop here. Yeah. Too much sun. Yeah. Okay, so if you have some quick, I just want to tell you one thing, that if anyone of you are interested, we should collaboratively do research on children. Research meaning not reading books, but observing very clearly what children do. So the first thing, and in fact, I'm working on a website to do this actually, a kind of a web portal where parents observe what children do, document, upload, and create an environment for, just looking at what everybody else is, documenting. Now, one very important thing I want to tell you, the biggest damage of modern mind is their inability to hold doubt. You see something a child does, immediately you want to conclude this is why the child is doing. That's a problem of the modern mind, because the educated mind has always dealt with concluded knowledge. They have never got information, raw information they have never got. They always got concluded knowledge. Every incident are incidents only. They are not conclusions. So three things we are planning to document. One is how children strategize their communication abilities and how they create language, language. That's one. Second is how they explore the world and connect the world with that. Exploring the world, material world. Third is on the drawing. Of course, I have not shown you drawing here. That is completely another story, actually. I will just tell you this, that, drawing is also a cognitive activity. You see, art is just another construct of the modern mind. They have fragmented child's holistic activity into art, play, learning, work, entertainment, things like that, For a child, there is only one activity, which is to understand the world. There is only cognitive activity. It is done playfully. So we are mistaking play and playfulness. And learning is what happens when the child is engaging with the world. So there is nothing called separate learning. When the child is learning the real world, this is an integrated act. So in our, in the 3 years working in the school, we documented the drawings done by children. And when we looked at we had thousands of drawings. We put it together and we saw that there's again a clear pattern, a clear logic to drawings that children do. Exactly the way I showed you how form, function, structure in the activity that children do. Exactly same. So drawing is actually a form of play and toy making merged in two-dimensional space. Understand? It's a playful act. It's an activity that children do to understand the real world in terms of two-dimensional space. Two-dimensional space is very new for human experience. It's hardly 500 years. Literacy is very new to human journey. Please understand this. Maybe 99.9% of the time we were not engaging with literacy. Literacy is a very, very recent phenomena in the human journey. And we are assuming as if it is always there. No. So there are two changes that took place biologically to human beings. One was shift from raw food to cooked food. We are biologically equipped for raw food, not for cooked food. But millions of years ago, maybe accidentally, cooked food began to be consumed. And it must have taken another 1,000 years for the body chemistry to change, the biochemistry of the body to change and accept cooked food also. I'm sure in the initial phases, it has been all about constipation and loose motions, because our body is not meant for that. I'm sure many people do have, even now when they eat certain things, like milk. Many people get, problem with milk, So there are certain foods which are not meant for us. So similarly, so what I'm trying to say is that, so body then adapted, biologically adapted to cooked food. Similarly, when we shifted from orality to literacy, it was again a biological change, but it was a very harmful change in the sense that we denied our biological capacity for learning. biological, part of learning. So I find that if you leave children alone completely, don't interfere, they will find a method of learning how to read and write and connecting 3D and 2D in a far more integrative manner, retaining their connection with the real world and learning how to read and write. So I'm not telling that there shouldn't be any reading and writing, but the cognitive foundation, the first layer of the cognition foundation should be of senses, sensory foundation of the world. And then you have inferences, but inferences are always based on sensory inputs. Correct, no? Inferences means it rained yesterday, but looking today, looking at the at the road today, I realized that it rained yesterday. That's inferences, no? But I had prior input. So inferential input is the next layer. And then, of course, connecting the word and the world, So each and every sensory input is identified with the word. Right? Slowly that builds up. That is the natural cognitive foundation. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. Now you start talking, otherwise I will continue.
Yeah, Renu here, Jinan.
Yeah.
It was actually, it's a great learning to listen to what you were talking about. You said if anybody is interested to work, we can collaborate and work together.
Yeah.
So I work with learning disabled children and special children.
Huh.
And I focus mainly on the cognitive development of learning disabled children and special children too.
Yeah.
So I would be actually interested to collaborate and work with you because I work very closely with the cognitive development. And whatever you were telling about observing children into how they are developing cognitively. So this is exactly what I do with them.
Sure. We had actually two experiences. One is that when we ran the school, we had one child, and actually the mother came from America because she, after doing a lot of Googling around, she felt that our school is the best school for her child. And they came, and but we did not do any special training. We did not treat him special at all. We let them completely free to move around, and tremendous change took place, in the child, number one. Secondly, in many of my workshops, parents come who have special children, and they find that when their attitude change took place even in the other child also. See, what is happening is that we are following the same rules for all the children, that we think we need to do all kinds of things to change them. We're not letting them do what they are doing. So it's always retraining them and changing their way of being, which I think is very very harmful. And I think we have to really courageously do something and redefine how do we be with how do we engage with special children. So that'll be nice. Where are you based?
I'm put up in Chennai.
We'll catch up. Ruchi?
I would be interested to take your phone number so that I can.
I think all of you are part of the WhatsApp group. Please join the WhatsApp group, because that is where we can actually, and there are also many other WhatsApp groups, where many groups are created for doing certain kind of research.
But that WhatsApp group in which I am connected, I cannot communicate. It is only the admins who can communicate.
So you take our number and then you directly communicate with us,
With whom from where do I get your number?
I'm just putting it on the.
If you could.
This is whoever has joined the group, they have
school. And a lot of what you shared today, I think I've already experienced some of it and didn't have the language to articulate it, but I think it's been great because I think now a lot of things make sense in the way I can conceptualize them. I wanted to just share that we are going for a 1-month holiday. For holiday, it's a friend's place. We're going to stay there, and I was thinking of what books to carry, and now I'm telling myself, no, we will go and we will create knowledge.
No
it's
books,
up in the
no
hills.
books.
No books. We are going to create knowledge, and I think it has just liberated me from a lot of unnecessary conditions. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
My
one thing is
question
that
was
we must not discuss anything in front of children. This is very important because this is a tragedy that we have created. No, don't involve them with our nonsense. No discussion about anything to children. This is what I feel. You should not even talk about unschooling, no schooling, knowledge. What is knowledge? All this confusion is arising in us. Don't confuse them further. Lead simple, normal lives. Any discussion about your doubts, do it when they are not around, That would be good.
I understand. Yeah, I think it's a lot of it is they take the cues from adults more than anybody else. I think we added for them. They are much more in the flow. Thank you so much. I hope this session recording will be shared. This is a lot of things that came. I am yet not sure if I have been able to process it, but it's great. Whatever I could pick up.
So I also want to tell you one thing, that we are functioning with absolutely no merchant minds. We are not selling anywhere, but we do require your financial support. Please feel free to support. We are not charging a bomb also, for whatever, but please support us. We have so many things that we are planning to do, but everything is stopped because we neither have people to work with us. Shashi, Shashi is there. Shashi is just closed this video. There are few of us, struggling to do this. 1 or 2, 3 of us, that's all. So we want more people. Don't worry about Alexandra. Don't worry. We know that, the foreign contribution, there is some problem, but don't worry about that. Later, sometime, we can work out something. So, so that's what I just wanted to tell you this, see, collaborate with us in because see, officially nobody wants to support us. Let me tell you this. No institution. See, I have been wanting to create a research program and cognition research on children. And I have written to almost all the cognitive scientists in this country. I have written to many in the Western world. I have written to many institutions. Not one is interested in doing anything. Anyway, the non-Western people are nothing but slaves, cognitive slaves, or parasites of the Western world. So they will not dare to do any questions, No questioning will ever be done in the non-Western world. So I have no hope for them doing anything. So it is very important that parents come together and create knowledge, because it is only parents who are interested in what I'm talking about, because they are directly encountering the problem, how their children's creativity is getting completely drained, and even how the whole world is actually against the nature of the child, that how you open the television, you only hear lies. You buy this, you buy that, and they know that children are very easy to cook. So everything is directed towards children. So I would say that close all your, television sets, break them and give it back to those shops. Tell them thank you. I feel so, and I can tell you one thing. You will not miss any news, whoever is ruling is not going to help us. So don't worry who is winning and who is losing. Don't worry which is the capital of which country. None of this is important. In 91, I stopped reading. I stopped reading for many years. Newspaper, and I used to buy newspaper only to wipe the railway, when you travel in train, you need something to wipe, the seat. That was the only purpose. I stopped reading completely. So these are facts. Let me just, be directly tell you these things. Sindhu, sorry.
Hi. No, I had a similar question like Renu. I also work with children with severe mental disabilities. So, in that sense, of course, there's a lot of parental pressure, and that they have to start learning to speak. They have to be able to, those kind of things. But I would be really interested to see how this this dialogue can be applied even in these spaces.
Sure, sure. I think maybe we should create a group especially for this, that we have, that we can do that, And of course, we are taking baby steps. No, nobody's an expert here, but we should actually be very sensitively doing this, and then let's see where it will go. Yeah. Anita.
Hi, sir. Today you have told that we need to follow the child always. So how far these boundaries are?
No, yeah, I know. See, in the modern world, the time when I adopted the child, that was in 2000. That time I did not have electricity in my house, so it was very safe. In the sense, there was no TV, and of course, I had what do you call that, costly certain equipments. But what I would do was that I would keep it away when the child comes home. She actually came from another house. So when the mother goes to work, she comes to my house. So around 8, I keep my laptop and everything out, so that she doesn't see it. So I ensured that the environment is created where I don't have to say no. Of course, the modern situation is very different, very difficult, because every Tom, Dick, and Harry will come and give you toys. Even if you don't want, they'll give you chocolates, they will give you Lays, all kinds of food that is harmful for children. So, well, what to do? So, the thing is that we have to, figure out ways of, escaping these things. There are no shortcuts now, because we have really created an anti-world child. And it has taken 500 years of, fine tuning, and we are fine tuning it better, the destruction, with each coming day. AI will ensure it. The new computer games will even make it more dangerous, but they are promoting it as good for their brain. It's not true at all.
Yeah.
Let me tell you one. The brain should develop by engaging with the real world. I purposely asked you what is the size of the ball, or the earth. For all educated, it is this size. Correct? Well, that is the input that has gone in. And other very important thing you must understand is that, as I told you, the body, the physical learning is different from the mental learning. The body will learn the experiences that it can take from the object of learning. For example, if he is engaging with the written word, the book, the physical structure of the book is what will get ingrained. For example, you are reading linear, no? Reading is linear. Am I right? So yes. Linear mind will definitely happen, because that is the way that your brain is getting function. You see, when you look at somebody, it is not linear. Am I right? Seeing is not linear. It is holistic. But reading is linear. One after the other. So your brain will then rewire itself and become linear, become fragmented, and of course hierarchical. There are many. I mean, later sometime, if you are more interested in the damages of modernity, I've been doing a study on that. There is a structure of modern minds that you can, our behavior will show that. We are hierarchical, we have afterthoughts, we are certain, and of course. And now, why I am telling this, because the digital experience is something else altogether. It is completely changing the way the brain learns, because what we are, what I was telling, you see, you're already seeing a miniaturized version of the world through, through this. Yeah. Secondly, it is edited.
Yeah.
Of course, with this time lapse, what do you call that, photography, you can show something that happens in 3 years or 10 years in few seconds, no?
Yeah.
So actually, see, why there is so much of boredom today is the normal timing and our mental timing are getting clash. Understand?
Yeah.
The normal life is 24 hours, no? The timing, there is a pace. But the moment you enter into the digital world, it completely changes the nature of time. And what it does is that it awakens in a distorted way a feminine quality in you. Your eyes will function, in a distorted way. Your ear will function in a distorted way. The rest of the senses won't function. But that is not the way when you engage with the real world. When you engage with the real world, all your senses are functioning properly.
Yeah.
Eating food, just take one example. Or all the, engaging with the real world, there is a one-to-one correlation between your, the world and you. That's the scale. But the moment you enter into a digital space, the whole, the time changes, the size changes, and editing happens. You see, I'll tell you one interesting thing. One day I saw my mother and another person listening to news, television news. I saw that these two were totally attending to the news, because then how they hype up the news now. Oh, this happened, that happened, this happened, that happened, that it completely. So they're totally glued. The mind is totally attending to the language, and the body was actually making movement along with the drumming that happens when the news is being told. That's how they do now. That the drum will happen, tang 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 will happen. So the body was actually responding to the music. It was making, and they didn't know that actually. So this is what happens, so the fragmented mind and body learning, all this is happening because of the kind of experience we start having from childhood. Body learns one thing, the mind learns one thing, and only only some senses function in case of digital. Yeah. Aprajita.
Sir, so my son wants to play. He wants to play for long time outside or anywhere. So I should be firm, no, sir, at that time, definitely.
No. You should be firm in allowing the child to play.
Means even if it is 9 o'clock,
doesn't matter. You don't worry. You try out for some time. Yeah, nothing is going to happen. No, try out for some time.
Okay.
Just let the things happen a little bit. Now, see, you have always been violent to the child, not till now. And when you give freedom, it will be too much freedom. See, this is what happened in our school. 3 years they have been, running in the regular mode. So when we took over, when we gave freedom, first week was complete halla, but they didn't know what to do with their freedom. But in 1 week's time, they settled down. They realized this is going to be the way. So they normalized, and and they begin to do things fantastically. So don't worry. They'll be surprised when you give them freedom a little bit. What has happened to my mother? Yeah, surely, of course. And never feed a child. Please never feed a child. That is one very important thing that you should remember. Never feed children. Because you see why we are all very gluttonous, we don't know when to eat, when to stop eating, is because we have not allowed the body to decide food, when to eat and when to. Because see, what is happening in modernity is that we are continuously feeding the mind's needs. So the doctor has told you must eat this vitamin, that protein, and this and that, and you're eating vitamins only or proteins. We are not eating food anymore. No, we are eating for the mind. We are not eating for the body.
Yeah.
So it is very important that the intelligence of the body is what we should respect. So if the child is telling no, stop. Never force. We always, I've seen this every time. One last time, one more last time, and you feed the child, So please stop feeding. Even when they are in the lying down position, even in their first, they will start spitting out, when you first feed them. When they're spitting, don't worry, they're not liking it. But don't fool them by making some likable thing also. That's also like sugar and all that, So I think, today the time has come when we have to be careful about everything. What food, and keep them away from hospitals and doctors.
Yeah.
Try whatever nature is providing. That should be the first. You see, natural learning, natural healing, natural farming, all follow the same rule. That nature knows the best. It's because we interfere that we create all the problems. So let the nature and the child function, no?
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Aparajita?
Yeah. Thank you, sir, for this very insightful session. So I was wondering, because we, I'm a mother to a 3-year-old, and this is actually my first interaction with, these concepts. And so, for instance, if we want to, I am based in the UAE, and there's not a lot of farming and nature. So how do we take baby steps to, give that freedom or that unlearning to our children with the constraints that we live in? And even when I was in India, we took a lot of steps to, integrate, ourselves to nature, make sure that we are involved with the food that we are growing. But I realize it's challenging because that ground zero is not there for us to be able to not interfere at least a basic minimum level of natural habitat is important. So just I wanted to understand.
Actually, the basic minimum things what we can do is to start cutting vegetables. Make sure that cooking is done there. Food, eat on the ground.
Okay.
Try and remove toys. So slowly, and also next time bring in all your neighbors, because they're also very harmful for your child. The neighbors, the grandparents, I mean, see, because it's not their mistake, that is how they are being told, So we have to sensitize them slowly and make them understand how harmful we are being, because everybody is doing with good intentions, but that is not really helpful, no? So we have to tell them that what is wrong with all this that we are doing, no?
Right.
Yeah. And so what happens is that when there is a conflict, the child will begin to like the person who is not you, but the other people, because they are giving whatever they feel like, which is not good at all. So it has to be a collaborative effort, of people who are around, So slowly sensitize them to a few things, and we have lots of videos, show them once in a while, look, this is what somebody is telling, and you can tell I have 3, 4 PhDs and all that, if that helps you. 3, 4 PhDs, don't worry, you can. But otherwise they won't agree with these things, no? And that too from America. Tell them USA returned 3 PhDs. Yeah. Radha?
Thank you. This is helpful. And of course, I've joined the group, and I would love to stay connected and see how I can, support and collaborate. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Radha?
Thank you for this, Jinan. And I could really connect with a lot of things that you're saying. My challenge has been that my child has already been introduced to phones and even mobile games by other family members. And whenever I try to do this, I personally believe that boredom is the best thing that can happen to kids. So if you try to engage a child a lot, they will then constantly keep looking for engagement. You let the child be bored for 5 minutes and they'll find something to do. But unfortunately, what happens now is when the child gets bored for 5 minutes, she starts looking for somebody's phone or for phone games. Right? She's about to turn 2. That's a very young age to be doing this. And how do we go from here? The question.
Take her out most of the time. Let her do a lot of freedom. I mean, just let her do anything. Get her into kitchen actually.
Yeah.
Get involved in. See, it's not really good to give advices, but what I feel is that 2 is too young to get, connect with, use these kind of things actually. So one thing is that she should do. You see, regular toys less harmful than digital toys, no doubt about it. So if there are hierarchy, I would say the most dangerous is digital, tools, really dangerous. So yeah, I mean, there are no easy solutions. You have to, get her involved in other things, give her complete freedom to other things, Yeah, Alexandra, I sorry I didn't respond to you till now. Now, you see, the thing is that the storytelling now, what we have been doing is that we have been telling is that
And Mary saying 2-year-old is playing mobile games.
Child.
But I showing video is not different, I feel.
Oh, somebody is speaking. Yeah. Mute. Yeah. So, see, they don't mind hearing the same story over and over again, especially in the young age. And what I have been doing is that I tell some experience that I've had. So that, you see, the whole thing is that how do we ensure presence or retain the presence, ability to be present in the child is what we should be thinking about, you know. So I remember telling my child stories about, story meaning, you know, some made up story about about butterflies, about birds, about, you know, flower and all that, no? So every time she goes out, she'll see a butterfly, you know, she will go after that and ask, was she there in the story, you know? I mean, it's the same butterfly you were talking about. So, you know, so anything that can retain their observation of the real world is what I think we could do, you know, instead of some strange stories about dinosaurs and things like that, no? It really doesn't really require that, no? Root them into the real world. Let them see life around, you know, which they can experience every day. So, you see, the problem is that the mind and body are not together. The mind is with the body only when they're actually seeing things. When they're imagining, the mind is elsewhere, the body is present. That is what is happening with modern educated people. About physically present, mentally absent. We're constantly out. So how do we bring both these things together? And for children, they are always together. Mind and body are together. All right. So, yeah. So we have sent in our channel and all that. Of course, we will also send you the, yeah. And of course, we will also send you more, you know, we will be, if there is more demand, we will also do more workshops and all that, you know. See, by nature, we are lazy. We are not organized. So if you say, why don't you do one thing, we will do it. But demand should come. And also, if you say that, you know, we have few parents in Bangalore or in Chennai or something like that, and then you invite us, we will come. We're not at all good in organizing and planning and all that kind of stuff, no? That's not something that we want to do also. So, yeah, Sumitra. I think with this question, we will stop and then continue. And okay, Dinesh also. Yeah.
Yeah, Jinan, it was really nice to have your session. My question is, like you're saying, we are in a modern world and the influences, there are a lot of influences.
Yes.
Even if we as a parent or me as a parent will not do something or practice this do nothing parenting, let the child free. And like you said, the child is going to interact with other kids and see what they know better or what they are engaging with. Let it be food or let it be the way they entertain themselves in any way. So I mean, won't the child feel left out? Won't that have like a different kind of an impact on the child?
Yeah. I mean, we are in between, what is that, devil and deep sea or something like that, they say, no? Our situation is that, no doubt. But we have to find a way to navigate through that. See, this is the way now our condition is this, you know, that there is this innocent child, you know, between, and there are two sides. One is somebody, a mother who wants to do the best, real best, inherently what the child requires. Whereas the other world is completely insensitive, most of it knowingly, other people unknowingly, but that's a huge portion. So you see, we can do what best we can do now, that's all. You see, for example, let me tell you that my own child, she went to school, no? But I've ensured that she goes to a best school. Now, best school meaning school where teachers don't come. That's what it means. Huh? Not that English medium, tie and coat and all that type. No, a government school where teachers don't come. Find a school nearby where they are least troubled. And I can also tell you one thing. It is better that they stay in a economically backward kind of schools where children don't have this kind of problems that modern middle class parents have. They are not all that ambitious, so the trouble will be very less if you send children to, of course they might learn some other language that is safer than this kind of intake here. It's better they learn some galis also, it's all right, don't worry. But the other input is more harmful, competition and all that kind of stuff, no? Yeah. Dinesh?
Thank
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always nice to talk to you, sir. So actually, I have a close to 4-year-old daughter. So actually, when we are so mindful, we always make sure that she doesn't play with the toys and all, and she just be left independently and all there. But when again, due to some busy lifestyle and all, that time due to other reasons, sometimes we had to tell her to make her occupy herself. So we had to give the toys, and then later feel guilt about it. So my question is basically about how exactly to be more consistent in observing the child to make sure that we don't interrupt in their learning process, and then always with the kind of a working lifestyle just having there.
Yeah. You see, actually, children, our idea of toy must change. Any carton or a chair, everything is a toy for a child. So if you allow the child to do whatever she wants with the real objects, then there is no problem. No? The thing is that when we define something as a toy and something is not a toy, that is when the confusion happens in the child. Now, this is what I should play with. This is not what I should be playing with. So even while eating, they are playing only. They are making something, they will doodle around and, they will make some stories about dam being built and all that. Every time they are doing that. So all that should happen, Anyway, now I will end here. Shashi, see, actually, 2 announcements. We are planning some session, some program, 1-year program for people who are interested actually to go deeply into some of these issues. Because see, this is not theoretical. You cannot read and change, You have to undergo certain experiences. Like when you stop reading, slowly your senses begin to function. But that doesn't mean that your mind is still working in the old way. How do you rewire your brain? Change the way the mind functions. All that requires time and effort, So you're developing a certain program for that. And the other thing is that Shashi is now setting up a small learning space in his village near Raisen. Why don't you say, Shashi?
Yeah, so we are based near Bhopal in Madhya Pradesh, and we are planning to start up a learning center here itself. And like the school that Jinan ji and Ranjana ji, the foundation has run in past, we want to reinitiate that experiment and see, what we can do about it.
And he also has some programs every year where anybody can come in and spend some time there.
Yeah, so we'll keep you posted. I think we are all part of the WhatsApp group now. Now you're part of the community, so you'll stay in touch. Let's work out together and let's see what we can do together. Yeah. So yeah. So thank you everybody. Thank you Jinanji. And I think it was a great session. Maybe we can end it here with smiles.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we'll try to share the recording as soon as possible with some editing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.